Hello. All right. I did not prep the speech. The last time I prepped the speech, I did not even read the cards from it because I knew that I wanted to come in here and be very intentional. So everybody's getting handed out something. We're going to get to those post-it notes in just a minute. But I just want to thank the speakers before me, Ginger and Tiffany, because of your words. Kelly, you are full of not just your testimonies, but your words of encouragement. And thank you for your bravery because it's not easy to come into a room full of strangers and to share our hearts, right? We live in a society that makes us feel almost embarrassed for the things that we've gone through in our lives, the rejection we face, the hurt that we had felt in our hearts, right? And it almost stops us from being able to open up to one another, to be able to sit at a table with strangers and to want to share our hearts. But I want to tell you, that is one of our gifts, especially as women. We know we all like to yap, we like to talk. And it's all about the things that are coming out of our mouths that is really going to make the difference and the change in others' lives, right? I always say, every single morning I wake up, God, use me. Allow me to be your hands, your feet, your mouth. Use me. Highlight the people you want me to serve today. That's all I care about. I'm an entrepreneur. My business makes sense. I'm able to live off of it, right? But like you were talking about business, I do it because it's what I'm told to do, but not because my accountant is saying that everything I do, every interaction I have, I'm very intentional about. There's sometimes you'll catch me sitting in a corner and I'm not judging anybody, but I'm more so asking Holy Spirit, how do you want me to help? How do you want me to speak? How am I supposed to? That's how intentional we have to be. Okay, that's how intentional we have to be. And Tiffany, you said it so great about becoming a kingdom warrior. And the song that kept playing in my head, and really what my speech is about today is going to be a lot of equipping you guys, equipping you because we all go through stuff. And a lot of stuff. Sometimes it all hits at once. Sometimes, well, I got to breathe for 5 years and whoa, now the storms are back here, right? But there's a song that says, now lace up your boots, put on your backpack because it's time to ride. And that's what we're going to do right now. We are going to ride this thing out and we are going to get back into our communities, into our families, into our marriages and our friendships. And we are going to be the change makers that God has created us to be. Because there is nothing that you have gone through in your life that wasn't for a purpose, even when it broke you. I'll say very briefly just a little bit about me. I'll give you the whole rundown. 14 years old, I went to drugs. Had sex at that age. At 18, I was pregnant. My parents told me that I was going to have to give them my child or have an abortion because I wasn't going to take care of my child. I ended up having that child. It was an amazing mother to her. At a year old, she died in a car accident. Prior to that, though, and I was going to skip over this part, but I can't because maybe there's somebody inside the room that needs to hear this. At 19 years old, when my daughter was about 9 months old, I ended up getting pregnant again. And I decided to have an abortion. And I held on to that shame, and we're going to talk about that. And then 3 months later, my daughter died in a car accident. And I thought, oh, God hates me. God hates me. He took my daughter because of what I did. And I dealt with that pain in silence for years up until your event for Walk for Life. I've been divorced. I am now a single mother of 2 amazing teenagers. I have dealt with codependency. I have dealt with rejection. I have dealt with bankruptcy. You name it, I've probably been through it. But you know what's so amazing? I get to stand here and have my head held high, my background on. Why? Because I am a daughter of the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, seated on the throne, and so are you. And this is so important that we remember that when we go through things in life, we're all going to mess up. Okay, I'm sorry. And anybody is walking in here with perfection, I'm going to humble you a little bit. You've messed up at some point in your life. So find the humbleness in your heart to look at your sister and say, hey, I see you, I hear you, and I want to sit with you and help you get through this. That is the heart that we need to have with one another in this life. We do not need to be judging Christian women. That's not the God we serve. We need to have a humble heart to be able to look at one another, to be able to help each other. And when you think about it, right, we heard it just in a little bit of this Q&A, but there's things that we all hold on to in our hearts. And I want anybody, right now, if you have been holding something in your heart of shame, of doubt, of embarrassment, I want you to raise your hand. I'm going to ask again. If there's something that you are going through, embarrassment, judgment, shame, I want you to raise your hand and I want you to keep your hand up. And I want you all to look at each other. And I want you to let you know you are forgiven. Tell each other that you are forgiven. You are forgiven. By his blood, we are forgiven. By the cross, we are forgiven. We need to step fully in that and what that means. Because when we know that what we've done in our past, what we've been through does not dictate where God is taking us. Actually, it was required to happen to be led to where God is taking us. I had to go through all the things I went through because of the woman that I am today. The mother I get to be, the friend, the servant. At the end of the day, I'm not a leader. I'm a servant. I want to be at the lowest place in society of being a servant because I want to help people. Because that's what Jesus did. We talk about wanting to be Christ-like, but what's our heart posture to other people? What's our heart posture to ourselves? When you wake up every single morning, are you thinking about the worries of the day? The problems that you're facing, the bills you got to pay, the relationship that's not working, the marriage that's failing, the job that just doesn't appreciate you? Are you waking up with those worries? If so, we've got to release those. Because those are just like Tiffany and Ginger were saying, they're just lies of the enemy. Things to distract you from your bigger purpose. You may be right now at a job that you can't stand, but maybe somebody that's working in that job next to you needs to get to know you. Maybe there's a relationship there that's going to take you to your next level or your next season. Maybe there's a skill that you're supposed to learn there that's going to help you. Guys, I probably had 21 jobs before I became an entrepreneur at 28 years old. And when I became an entrepreneur, I made $600 that month. $600 as a mom of two. I've got this. I didn't have this, but God did. The world called me crazy, but I was like, all right, I'm just running towards wherever you're telling me. You got to have that kind of like blind, radical faith in yourself, right? And then you're put into seasons where you're like, okay, God, what am I supposed to do now? Who am I? I'm broken. I'm nothing for you to go down. That's where I found myself. I was, at that time, bankrupt, in the middle of a divorce, completely heartbroken and shattered, living in my parents' house with my two kids, sleeping on a queen-size bed. I said, God, what am I supposed to do now? Because everything that I've ever said that I am, I'm not. So what am I supposed to do now? And he told me, just rest. Just rest. Just rest. Hello. There's bills I gotta be paid. I need to start my life. What do you mean, just rest? He stripped me of everything to become who I am today. So right now, if you're in that season and you're like, God, I don't know how the light bill is going to get paid. Do we not know that we serve an on-time God? Yes. We serve a God that shows up at the stroke of midnight, that always provides, and maybe it's not in the way that we think it's supposed to be provided. And then we're embarrassed when it's provided for because it didn't come the way that we thought it was. As an entrepreneur, I do real estate, I do business mentorship. So what's that all about? Numbers and how much money you made, how many clients you closed, right? That's what makes people successful. But no, not in the kingdom of God. Not in the kingdom, no, not at all. It's how you show up, who you become, what it is that you're doing that you're serving. So I talk with all of this confidence or confidence, right? But this came because I needed to do a lot of work on myself. Mind you, I was discarded. I felt like I had no worth. I had no money. Everything that determined you to be successful, I felt that I failed them. The one person, and I don't say this to give shame to anyone, but because it hurts so hard, well, the one person that I trusted to do life with looked at me and said, you're a failure and a loser. I want nothing to do with you. Could you imagine how that made me feel, right? Maybe somebody has said something to you like that. And so here I was walking around with all of these labels all over me. Unworthy, unloved, stupid, loser, ugly, I don't know, fat, I don't know, whatever it is that you want to say. And I was carrying these labels with me into this next season that I was trying to walk in with God. And God said, nope, you've got to get rid of that. So I wrote a book, and it's called Lemon Seed. And in Lemon Seed, I talk about having limited beliefs. When we are limiting our beliefs about ourselves, we do not walk in the full authority in who we are into the season that God is calling us to be in. We're walking in timid. You got the job, but you're like, am I really supposed to be here? You come to the speaking event, am I worthy of speaking to these women? You get into the relationship, am I worthy of their love? Why? Because we have all of these labels and these emotions and these things that we believe. We believe that we're not good. But when you decide to say, hold on, what does the Bible say that I am? When we read the Bible, we don't need to read it as you are, it's I am. The Bible is speaking to you. It is a personal, deep relationship with you. So we need to know what it is that God calls us to be. So we're going to do a little bit of an exercise really quick. Everybody's got Post-it notes?
Yes.
Okay. The first thing is we're going to do is we're all going to write down on each, actually just use one Post-it note for this part. On one Post-it note, I want you to write down your limited beliefs that you have of yourself. I want you to write it down. So it can be many, all of them, just a couple. Write down your limited beliefs. So an example of this would be, I'm unworthy. I'm broke. I'm ugly. I'm overweight. I'm underweight. I'm too busy to work out. I don't have enough time for myself. Did I say I'm unloved? I'm unwanted. I'll never be successful. I'll never have a savings account. I'll never be forgiven. These are just some ideas. I probably wrote all of these at some point in my life. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys like 10 more seconds. And if you feel rushed doing this, an exercise that I do with myself every 90 days. Okay, so you can take this, you can take it home and work on this on your own time as well. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is however many limited beliefs that you have, I need you to grab that many sticky notes for yourself. So if you have 5 limited beliefs, you need 5. What we are going to do is we are going to reverse these beliefs. And we are going to tell ourselves what is the truth of this. So for example, if you say, I am broke, meaning financially, you can put, I am smart with money. I have overflow. I have abundance. And you put on there, I don't like the way my body looks. You can say that I was wonderfully made. If you have on there that you are not worthy, you can put that you are worthy of it all. And now with these, right? So on each sticky note, you should put your reverse belief. So each sticky note should have one reverse belief, okay? Now I want you to keep these because this isn't something just to make and you throw away. I want you ladies to put this next to a mirror that you get ready at every single day. So for me, this is my selfie mirror, right? I have them all right there. Because even if I don't take time to, one thing, we're women, we look at ourselves every single day, okay? So even if I don't read them all at one time, I'm at least glancing at one of them. And so instead of that thought process, I'm unworthy, I'm going to look and see I'm worthy. And then I'm going to start training my brain to believe that. Right? It's just like in the Bible. When we pick up our Bibles in the mornings and we start our day, don't we just feel a little bit more pepped and set? Right? But when we forget to read our Bible daily, we start to go down in the pain. Right? We start sinning. We start doing all the things we know we're not supposed to be doing. This is the same thing. Now, if you want to take this a step higher, find your biblical truth to your the beliefs that we need to have in the Bible. right? And tie biblical truth to these beliefs. Because this is what's true. It's the enemy that is in our heads. Listen, when we go through, and we've heard of this many times through this event, when we go through things in life, it is simply the enemy's plan of attack. But on the flip side of that as well, there are things that we go through that God allows because he knows it is going to pull us closer to him and more into our purpose. So we cannot be screaming everything from the enemy, everything. No, maybe I just need to learn this right now, gain the right skill, gain the right information from it so that way I can go out and serve. And when we are in the pit and we're going through the hard stuff, I want you guys to remember the God that we serve. This, I think sometimes we tend to miss this. So this is long. How much time do I have? Oh. Okay, I won't read it all. I'm going to start it, and then you guys can finish this at home, okay? And that's too funny. Okay, but it's in 2 Samuel 22. And this is David's song of thanksgiving to the Lord. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer. My God, my mountain where I seek refuge, my shield, the horn of my salvation, my stronghold, my refuge, and my Savior. You saved me from violence. I called to the Lord, who is worthy of praise, and I was saved from my enemies. For the waves of death engulfed me, the torrents of destruction terrified me, the ropes of Sheol entangled me, and the snares of death confronted me. I called to the Lord in my distress. I called to my God in his temple. He rescued me because he delighted in me. The Lord rewarded me according to my righteousness. He repaid me according to my cleanness of my hands, for I have kept the ways of the Lord. So this goes on. But if you continue through this, you will understand what God's character is towards you. He is your lamp. He is your refuge. He is your light. Okay, he is your protection. That is what we get to walk with every single day. And ladies, I ask you all to stand now in honor and knowing that you are not just called and crowned, but you are the daughter of the King, and you get to walk every single day as such, in power, knowing that he is lighting your way. And he is with you every second. Not one minute of your life is by mistake. Not one thing that you have gone through is not already planned. So walk in courage, be strong and courageous.